as many of you might know, I declined to come back the last couple times I played at St. Andrews because I made my farewell in 2005, and I didn't want to come back and dilute that for what it was. It was fantastic then. But when I got the invitation this time to be an honorary citizen of St. Andrews and to follow Bobby Jones and Benjamin Franklin, I've got to come back. So to be back is fantastic. We brought the weather with us, in case you didn't notice that. But this is about the same weather we had in 2005 when we played. It was beautiful. And but anyway, it's great to be back. I'm back in actually the same hotel room that I was in, which Barbara and I have stayed in every time we've been in St. Andrews. And we're looking forward to a great couple of days.
Okay, thank you. We'll take some questions from the floor. We'll start with you, Brian, at the front, please.
Yeah, thanks, Jack. First of all, it's terrific to see you here. You've given us all so many wonderful memories over the years, and for that, we're all in this room eternally grateful for you. But what makes St. Andrews so special? What's so magical about the place?
Well, I give you part of my speech for tomorrow, but when I came here in 1964, I couldn't have believed that St. Andrews was a golf course that would still test the golfers of that time. Now that's what, 60 years ago? Close. Anyway, I didn't think it still tests the golfers this time. It's a magical golf course that's really, the conditions, the weather, where you actually choose to put the pins, whether the golf course gets dry, golf course gets wet. All those things have made St. Andrews a magical place. And to believe that the game of golf essentially started here, and it just absolutely is mind-boggling to me that it still stands up to the golfers of today, and it does. And I tell you, if you get a little bit of weather, anytime you get it, you tell you real fast how fast it makes you stand up to it. Oh, I'm warm today. I'm not going to do that. I'm kidding. Of course, I mean, I'm thrilled and so forth about coming. I drove into town. First time I've driven into town in, 18 years, 17 years. And it was interesting. I through coming into town and said, we used to go that way. No, we go this way. Oh, okay. So it was kind of it was fun just to come back and see where we were, see the gates, come into the little curves that we came into, and I always said St. Andrews was it looked like an old gray town until the Open came around. All of a sudden, it just lit up like a light, and it was beautiful. And St. Andrews, always the week of the Open Championship, is always beautiful. I imagine, actually, probably from anybody who makes a pilgrimage here to play this golf course feels that way.
Okay, we'll take the next question. Mark at the front right, please.
Hey, Jack. You talk about the course standing up to the players. I'm just wondering, it's supposed to be potentially pretty calm this week, and with the added length that these guys now have, do you wonder how low guys can go on this golf course?
You might shoot low. So what? That's sort of the way I look at it. I mean, they shoot low now, or compared to what they shot, 100 years ago. But times change, and golfers get better, equipment gets better, conditions get better. They just shoot low scores. But I don't think it really makes a whole lot of difference, frankly. It's St. Andrews, and it's what it is, and how it will produce a good champion, always has, and that's why I look at it.
Okay, next question, Jeff, please.
Do you remember when you first came here, how much you knew about St. Andrews, and then how quickly did your affinity develop for the town and the golf course?
The only thing I knew about St. Andrews before I got here was my father came over with a couple of friends in 1959. I was at Muirfield, And they came over, and of course they were saying how much trouble they had, and I couldn't understand what was your trouble. Well, one of them had 3-putted 13 times, the other one 14, and the other one 15. Now I understood why they had trouble. So, but then I came back in '64, and that's all I really knew about it, other than the home. And of course Arnold came here in '60, lost by a shot to Nagel, and you know, that's what I knew about St. Andrews. I knew St. Andrews obviously from previous years, but that's really what my knowledge was. So when I stepped on it in '64, all of a sudden to step out of the clubhouse, step there, look at the first tee, look at what was there, see the town, see everything, I fell in love with it immediately. And I've had a love affair with it ever since.
Stephanie, front right, please.
Hi Jack, it's great to see you back in St Andrews. You've obviously had huge success here over the years, but what does it mean to you to be made an honorary citizen?
What was the last part? I didn't hear your question.
What does it mean to you to be made an honorary citizen of the town?
Well, I think that's pretty special. That's why I'm back, obviously. You know, there's a lot of reasons to be back. The 150th anniversary, and you know, a lot of other reasons, the tournament, and the whole thing. But this is why I'm back. I'm back because of that. I wouldn't be back for any other reason. But that's pretty special. I mean, there's only 2 Americans ever been honored. I think I'd have to think that that's something pretty special. I'm very flattered by that, and I thought that was very, I'm sure it'll be a very humbling experience tomorrow.
Okay, next question, Juan, back right.
So the fact that we can still measure the best golfers of the world in this golf course in St. Andrews over all these decades.
I'm not understanding it at all.
That the fact that we can measure who are the best golfers in the world still in St. Andrews in the same scenario than 50 years ago or over the time, no? And maybe the materials and the distance and other things have changed, but you can still compare the magic of somebody playing here 50 years ago with the magic of somebody playing here now, or the touch, or the grit, or all these things, no? Of a champion.
I'm trying to figure out what you're asking me.
So I'm trying to explain.
The magic of the guys that played here 6 years ago?
No.
Or 60 years ago?
So from 60 years ago, you can compare the touch of somebody 60 years ago with the touch now. No? So,
the game has changed quite a bit, but St. Andrews hasn't.
That's it, yeah.
And sure, St. Andrews has had a little bit of length added to it. The old course has, but the guy, it's the length has been added, you know, to try to sort of compromise the golf ball of today. And but it's still, you know, you still got to play golf. You still have those pesky little bunkers out there that grab your ball every time you hit an errant shot. And you know, you hit one out there and you play it out sideways, and you say, "Why did I hit it here?" Well, somebody hit it here 60 years ago or 100 years ago, and they had the same problem. They hit it right out here sideways. They got in your way, and they haven't really. I don't know whether they changed any locations. I think they changed a few locations, but not a dramatic number. But I think the Beardies were changed a little bit back about midway when I was playing, and but the you know, you still got to play golf. If you really play well and play smart at St. Andrews, you're playing like you do at most of the seaside golf courses. You're playing by where the bunkers are, and you're playing. You know, if you play smart, you know, really play smart, you're going to probably take it during the week, but most of the time you don't. In other words, well, like what I won at Muirfield, I planned myself out, and I hit 4 drivers a day. And the last day, I had a little wind in my face at 14, and I elected, instead of hitting 3 wood, I hit driver. And I knocked it right in a friggin' bunker. It almost cost me the tournament. You know, discipline is such an important part of playing over here. And you get frustrated. Once you get frustrated, then say, bye-bye, we'll see you next time. Because that's what happens. You've got to just be patient, and you've got to really just sort of play by what the golf course gives you. You can't try to take any more.
Okay, next question, Alex in the middle, please.
Yeah, Jack, you have a philosophy on how to play Augusta National, and when guys come to you, you explain to them what you would do necessarily. What's your philosophy around here?
Well, it's just a little bit. I mean, basically, it's by where the bunkers are. I mean, the first hole, I just make sure that I take a club and I can't reach the burn on the left as it comes back. So, I mean, you could drive it down there, but you got plenty of room to drive it down there, but why hit it there? You're only going to play a wedge from just short of that. And, you know, the second hole, you really are dealing with, I can't remember the name of the bunker that sits out of the turns on number 2. But you're playing by that. And of course on the right. You're trying to play in between what your hazards are. St. Andrews is, what is it? St. Andrews is only about 94 acres, isn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty small. It's not a big piece of land.
Very small piece of property. And of course it just goes out and it comes back. And your width is what you have between, you know, 2 holes. Every hole adds up to 18. Every green does. And so you try to keep it in, just keep it in between that. I mean, St. Andrews is played to the left. And if you're going to miss it, you miss it left. And most of the time, and there's a bad problem left, but not too often. Most of your problems are right. You're out of bounds, and your big bad bunkers and so forth are on the right. And so the philosophy is to keep the ball favoring the center of the golf course. Play the club that you need to play off the tee that doesn't get you in a bunker. As it relates to the greens, you're going to get the ball on the green. It's just, you know, whether you can putt or not. First time I played here in 64, let's see, I think I was 149, I think, the first 2 rounds, and I'd had 41 putts. And that's what you have in the wind, and with bad weather. And on 66, 68, the last 2 rounds, wind dropped out, and then I made some putts. But putting is really difficult in the wind, and particularly on this golf course, because the wind just sort of pushes it across the green. So you got to figure out that you try not to leave a ball in a place where you leave yourself an impossible putt. In other words, like at number 2, you've got the Himalayas. I don't think you want to leave the ball when you're putting out of there. You want to try to hit the ball, keep the ball to the right of it, so you're putting back up into the hill. It's the same type of thing pretty much through the golf course. Third hole, I guess, has that little bunker on the left. You got to hit the ball. You just don't want to ever be in that bunker. Short side yourself. You got to be to the right of that little bunker, so you're not playing off of the slope. And it's right all through the golf course, Alex. It's the same thing.